What's going on, everyone? Chris Mack coming at you today with the Marvel Legends X-Force X-23 Deadpool Sasquatch Build-A-Figure Wave action figure. And this has been one of my most favorite figures in my collection just because I'm a huge fan of X-23 and the way that she was introduced. But now being able to go over it, hell yeah. So as we see here, Deadpool X-23 with the cool Deadpool logo there. Love this rendition of the artwork here. Very reminiscent of the Christopher Yost and Craig Kyle's X-Force run. Absolutely stunning. Come around to the back. Love the product shot they did here. Very, just encompasses everything that is the X-23 Laura Kinney. There's also a read-up. I'll make sure to get close up so you can check it out at your convenience, as well as the figures from the way that you need to build the Alpha Flight Sasquatch. Come back around this way. Same gorgeous artwork. Nothing on the bottom. So with that said, is this figure worth picking up? Speaking of which, if you guys do want to pick this up, first and foremost, support your local comic shop or wherever it is, like to get your action figures and comics. And if not, there's always Big Bad Toy Store doesn't have it. Shame on me. The only other place that I saw currently at the time of this recording that has it is Amazon, because it is an older, harder to get action figure. So that said, is she awesome or not? Let's crack this thing open and get a closer look at this Wolverine clone. Laura Kinney X-23 was created by Craig Kyle, first appearing in Season 3, Episode 10 of the 2003 X-Men Evolution television series. She then debuted in NYX number 3 from December 2003. Initially, her past was never divulged, but her abilities were shown. It wasn't until her miniseries X-23 Innocence Lost that her origin was fully explained. She is the clone and later adoptive daughter of Wolverine, created to be the perfect killing machine by a top secret program tasked with replicating the original Weapon X project. Wishing to put an end to weapons, like herself, X tracked down Wolverine to the mansion to eliminate him. However, Logan argued she had been a victim and offered to help her and enrolled her at Xavier's Institute. She became a part of the X-Men supporting cast in Uncanny X-Men 450. During the Messiah Complex event, Cyclops forms a Black Ops version of X-Force to deal with threats preemptively. He drafts Laura, though this kind of puts him in conflict with Logan, whom he did not consult on this decision. Wolverine asks Laura to reconsider, warning her of the life she's given up should she pursue this path. But she decides to take her place on the team. After Logan's death, Laura adopts his codename Wolverine to honor his memory. And we've gone over that Marvel Legends version, so I'll make sure to leave a card so you guys can check it out at your convenience. Unfortunately, this figure does not come with any accessories, but nonetheless, it is a gorgeous piece. The head sculpt is absolutely gorgeous. I love the red that they did in the eyes. A lot of the X-Force comics during that time, they always showed the characters with red eyes, so I'm glad that they had adapted it here. The skin tone looks great. Hair looks like it's supposed to. And I'm very glad that they gave her that Christopher Yost and Craig Kyle X-Force uniform. It just really matched the team, and everyone had that matching color. And I'm glad when Rick Remender did his iteration that he also kind of kept this color scheme as well. The claws are, of course, those old clunky ones. I wish that they would have given her like the thicker ones. But I think that was just later down the road, like what they did with the rest of the Wolverines. Frustrating. I like the loose belt with that X logo on there, the nice shiny metal on there. Pants look good. Love the military style boots, and I'm glad that they gave her flat feet, unlike a lot of the earlier Marvel Legends female characters with always that kind of awkward heel that just did not do anything. But yeah, gorgeous piece. The only thing that drives me nuts is, at least when we did the all-new Wolverine version, see how her claws are a little bit more sturdy than this first iterations. And I wish that they would have given her like hidden toe claws, because that's part of her mutation. Is she got the 2 hand claws, and then she also had claws that came out of her feet. I'm glad on this one that they gave it to us, but there's nowhere to tuck them out. You have to basically work them out of her feet, which is frustrating. I wish that they would have just tucked them in under the feet. That would have been a lot better. Now, one thing I am thankful for, this version came with a maskless Laura version. And you have to do a little bit of effort. But if you snap the head off and put this one on there, I'm glad that these skin tones match. So if you want to put her on a shelf, maskless in her OG X-Force look, that is really great. I mean, yeah, this head's a little bit wider, but still you get the idea, and it just matches on both of these characters. So I'm very thankful for that. So let's go ahead and put the right head sculpt on. Three, two, test. Okay. 3, 2. This being a older figure, now I'm glad that she's relatively posable. So her head, again, warm these characters up before you do anything with them, because if not, they're going to be super tight. She can look down about that far on the dumbbell joint, and of course the big clunky hair makes it nigh impossible to make her look up. I wish that they would figure out something to do with the hair on long-haired characters, because that's so frustrating. So at least you can look down inside the side relatively well, and you have to kind of work around the hair to get that 360 motion. Arms go up like that. Elbow at 90 degrees. Hand does move up and down and round. And she only twists at the solar plex. Sadly, they don't give her that. I wish that they would have started. I know that a lot of more characters do it now, but I wish that they would have given us our torso bend as well. But she can kind of crunch down a little bit that way, out like that. Upper thighs swivel. Thankfully, mercifully, double jointed knees. Foot goes up, foot goes down, swivels. Kick out 90 degrees. But just like every Marvel Legends figure, the cursed butt flap. And one thing about these older figures, and it's not only, it's a little predominant on this one too, but I was trying to figure out what this looks like, this butt flap. And it reminds me of the butterfly, not the butterfly, the ladybug from A Bug's Life, where the thing would walk around and had that big shell. That's what it looks like to me, is like a Bug's Life butterfly. Had to stop and think, I wish that they would have stamped this somewhere else. That's so damn frustrating. But overall, at least the articulation is decent, and you can at least get some good poses to make her look like the lethal killer that they tried to instill in her, but now she does it for good. Now here's X-23. Next to the two iterations of the covert X-Force teams was the initial team done by Christopher Yost and Craig Kyle, which had Wolverine and X-23, Warpath, and a few others, Rain and Archangel. And then after Cyclops said he wanted to disband it, Wolverine did the Uncanny X-Force, which we see here, which here is the Psylocke and the Phantom X. They had the 3-pack with Nimrod. And then this was an Uncanny X-Force release of Deathlock. And then these two being from the Sasquatch Wave. Here is the Deadpool that we just recently went over. And this is the Wendigo Build-A-Figure Wave, Wolverine. And he put both generations here on display, and they look absolutely beautiful. It's almost made me want to break down, and I think it was a few years back they did the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Archangel. That was part of the X-Force team, and he looks magnificent. But, yeah, some of these get pricey real quick. That's why I'm glad that I grabbed the 3-pack here, because I was jumping up pretty quick. That aside, you get this X-Force team together, and it just looks absolutely beautiful. I love how, even though all these have been released at different times other than these two, they still have that color theme of the X-Force at that 2000s time. Some of my most favorite X-Men reads. If you haven't checked out either the X-Force or Uncanny X-Force, definitely a jumping on point if you've not ever read an X-Men comic book in your life. You may be a little confused, but if you love action and subterfuge and all that good stuff, you are going to get it with this team. I'm a happy little collector to have these, and I hope to eventually find that Archangel. What do y'all plan on doing with your X-Force teams? Are you going to pose them, photograph them? Let us know. We'd love to see it over on our social media pages. When this figure came out, I had to grab it. This is the X-23 that I know. There's been, of course, different iterations, but the first time I was ever introduced to Laura was Christopher Yost and Craig Kyle's X-Force run. And this was the uniform that they portrayed her in. And I was just a fan after that. I mean, I loved the outfit she had for Young Avengers or Avengers Academy, whatever it was called. And since then, I've just been a huge fan, and I love how Wolverine's trying to give her a different life than what she grew up with. As for this figure, it just drives me nuts that they didn't give us flippable toe claws. I mean, as we saw with the all-new Wolverine one, we at least got them on her toes, but it'd been nice to be able to add and detract or what have you. That aside, having both this one and the all-new Wolverine versions, I am one happy camper because she was definitely a much welcomed version to the X-Men's world. What do y'all think of Laura Kinney, the X-23? If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please and first and foremost support your local comic shop or wherever it is like to get your action figures and comics and grab this figure or the places that we talked about at the beginning of the review. Speaking of, if you have enjoyed this review, really would appreciate it if you take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little adamantium bell next, subscribe. That way as I continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next, and I hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.